So just I plot the phase noise performance and the power consumptions. So we got that there is a general tendency in the design that you burn more current and get better phase noise. Better phase noise performance means, I say that at 1 megahertz offset, if you want to have minus 120 dBc, those kind of things. But normally it is 87, 89, 95 like that. Then you actually burn more current to increase the improved phase noise performance. But then the question that haunts us that whether burning more and more current, then where is the end? Then we found that there is a optimal current. After that, even the phase noise will be worse. That is the point of observations that we try to focus on. All your analysis is based on small signal GA. But remember that small signal GA ensures use the startup conditions. Once the oscillation builds up, then no longer it is a small signal. So that's this problem. So one voltage swing going up, then any current source will be isolated, cease to exist. The GM goes to zero. Like it, oscillation means there is a feedback always like that. You can imagine, I always tell you that how a small baby learns to eat food with her own, his or her own. Because if you look at here, you pick it up and then you will feed it to the mouth, right? Like this. So first you will pick there, and finally it will end up with picking up. Maybe it will be there, and finally it end up with the mouth. And then start eating like this. So how it is done? Because when you throw the hand, the baby, then there is a brain giving you the signals. You go there and like that. So like that, an oscillator, when it starts speeds up, it has got some kind of a feedback, and the oscillation goes up. But when the oscillation about to cease this, because the gear, then again when it goes in the stable oscillations, that means the error is zero. Okay. Again it starts falling. Again something error comes up and it starts spinning. So continuously this correction going on, and that is called stable oscillations. Okay. So better, I would say that you think of this and try to understand it also in a mathematically as well as through the physical insight. That will be more important aspects to this. So I would say that any numerical values you have to add on this.
Who will show in the simulation?
We will show you actually the actual simulations.
Results and how the oscillation builds up.
Change the
oscillation frequency. It doesn't. Why? Because from the very beginning, we are talking about that it is about the admittance value. It's a spectral load. We don't consider about the temporal amplitude load. So it is obvious from here also. The noise voltage generated, it's actually the current generated multiplied the impedance normal way is there. It is the amplitude ratio, but it is not the frequency error. Now, question is, now if you go a little, just 1 second we will go there. What actually is happening here? Let's say you are having an oscillation, fine. Now, injection of noise, because IN square is coming every time. What exactly is happening? Instead of smooth, it is actually invisible. Is not it? Because every time there is a noise injection. Every time. To the amplitude. Please tell me if I am wrong. If that is true, can I say that when it is crossing at any, how we measure the time period? We measure the time period where it is crossing the reference point to another reference point. What is the repetition cycle? We call it as a cycle time. So it means that from one cycle, what is the duration in temporal domain or time domain? But now, as you zoom it, by mouse clicking you zoom it, you see that the situation is like this. like this. If you zoom it, see, it is crossing here, then it is crossing here, then it is crossing here. So it's crossing here, 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 and here. Probably 4 times.
0%.
4 times. How much time it should cross? So if it is crossing 4 times, then how will you measure the time period or cycle time? Which point you want to measure? This is starting to, you don't know because it's a random. Maybe when it is crossing again 0, maybe 3 times. So can I say that from here to here the distance is not equal to here to here? It's difficult to predict. How will you say that? Because where it will come in, how noise will be injected, when it will be injected, how I know that? So that's why generally what happens, my zero crossing point is changing. But on average, zero crossing point is not changing. So I can say time period is actually not changing. But as a whole, the overall, see here, it is a zero crossing fast, here zero crossing fast. So I can see that sometimes the sinusoidal first order oscillation is this way, sometimes is this way. So as a whole, I can assume that the noise actually fluctuates my zero crossing point. But why not I am considering the amplitude noise? Shouldn't we? Because my amplitude is also fluctuating, na? Why should not I? Yes, I should. But the amplitude of this fluctuation corresponds with respect to the total amplitude V0 is very less. So if there is a 10 millivolt or 20 millivolt amplitude fluctuation due to noise and my oscillation amplitude might be 500 millivolt,
But there will be some internal mechanism to actually control that amplitude. But phase noise, you do not have any internal.
yes, another very difficult one because somehow you can current limited region, you put more current, your amplitude will be more if it is less. But less how much? 10 to 20 millivolt. Within the control. But what about this? 10 to 20 millivolt is sufficient to fluctuate from the zero crossing point. Now, can you tell me from this observation that injection of the noise current, is it a linear time invariant system or not? The injection of noise power is a LTI system or not? By this observation.
Yes. Is it time dependent or time?
Linear time invariant system means is whatever be the time, if I shift the time, it will not change. Because what is the shifting of time? My watch. Now if I observe in 1 o'clock, if I observe in 2 o'clock, whether it is that, it's a time invariant phenomenon or time varying phenomenon. Sure. When the noise current is injected here, if the noise current is not injected here and it is injected here, does it have the same effect?
No.
Should I put it in a little more way? Let us assume here. Okay? So I am injecting here so that this point is actually shifted here. And I am injecting noise current here because noise current is always coming. But the during when it is injected here, so that the amplitude will rise. But when it is coming, the amplitude is actually little rise here. This amplitude will go here. So should not this whole time period, whole sinusoidal is shifted little left? If I inject the noise current here, just imagine. If I just thinking it is a straight line, it is a zero crossing point. If I just move the straight line here, little up, should not this zero crossing point will be here? Or if I inject it somewhere here, so should not this fluctuation should come here? Yes or no? So can I call that my injection of noise is a time invariant phenomenon? No. No.
No, here the occurrence of the noise is becoming an important issue, right?
When I am giving the input noise, that is important. Unlike the case of the amplitude noise. Amplitude noise is quite so difficult to imagine. If you inject the noise here at t equal to t1, and if you inject the noise at t equal to t2, does it have the same effect? Then why it is time invariant? It's a time dependent phenomenon. Actually, in case of 4kT GM, that is a time dependent or time independent? Time independent phenomenon. Because every time I am assuming there is a transconduct is not changing with respect to time. So it is a time variant phenomenon or time invariant phenomenon? Yes. So it is a time variant phenomenon. Now question is a linear or non-linear? Okay, in terms of amplitude, because power is square of our amplitude. But what about the in terms of power? If my injection of current at the crossing zone, if I is increasing double, then the shifting of this point will be, let's say, x. Now if I go for another jerking, shifting point will be how much time? Same amount. So the actual zero crossing point is actually linear in terms of amplitude of the ion square. Correct? Is not it?
Basic thing, whenever we start the discussion of Hartley, we say that Hartley is random.
Yes.
And that is the reason we go for the spectral density.
Forget about spectral density. I don't know what is spectral density at all. Forget. But what I am assuming that ion square is always common. Forget about spectral density, forget about very great thing. But now you want to tell me ion square, let us say it is a DC current, just think it's a DC current, it's nothing new. It's an additional extra current. Now this additional extra current should have effect every time same?
It does not have the same
effect.
No, when you started the discussion, you said, asked the question whether it is LTI or not. Is there any noise which is LTI?
Yeah, of course, because this is a zero crossing is a linear. But the amplitude noise is what? It's an LTI system. Because time invariant. Because if there is if you don't consider about the sinusoidal oscillator, you consider about that any other DC signal or anything with the noise injection, it will be added up. The effect of doesn't really affect the time. Time variant phenomenon means when I am injecting the noise, it is important or not. My watch time is important or not. So it is a linear, but it is a time variant. So instead it is a LTI system, it is actually LTV system.
Actually, if you want to study it more, this kind of LTI is the post-Hajimiri period. If you look at the Lee's model of phase noise, it is the linear time invariant. But Hajimiri proposed that it is with linear time, non-linear, linear time invariant systems. Further, it has been extended now, it is called non-linear time invariant systems. In that case, while defining a noise, it will be interesting that suppose you are defining this is the periodic signal, and then if you look at the noise, occurrence of the noise at the zero crossing or here or at the maximal amplitudes, so the effect of that noise is beautiful. So in that case, you have to define some kind of a ISF function. The ISF means the impulse sensitivity function. So that is gamma function will be multiplied with this convolution of the noise and the input signal. So that is the contribution of Hajimiri. So if you want to go in details of these analysis, if you look at the Lee's and Haji-Berry's model later on, then you will have a much better expressions. And we try to extend that one into our visual applications and find out whether the points of inflections and current control regime and power control regimes.
And actually, post-Hajimiri is when it is LTV systems, because are you ready with this acceptance of this idea? It's a time variant phenomenon, right? So after accepting that, so they have models of resonance again. So that is much more matching with the actual result. So what happens after that cadence, particularly cadence, first time, they adopted that linear time varying model and they adopted to the spectral simulator. And so the harmonic balance and harmonic balance is actually background engine is LTV engine. So it is actually
More
more
specific questions on the process variations and just specific variation. What was this question? What is your question?
How do we consider the process variations in this kind of situation? Because we assume everything to be equal on Jesus.
You are dispatch in the true. So you can always assume that there is a 10% variation in the So when you have the similarity factor, so either you can vary the W ratio of the transistor in single that is the tedious things. Better is that you add one to the resistance, or there is, if you define the current by 10%, then you can also write this variation. So that variations can give you what is the distortions in the output. So that is one. And also you can have a Monte Carlo simulations. This is another one here. Okay. And also the temperature means the process constant of the simulation. So this actually how many processes will come?
It's actually a typical slow, fast.
And then
You know that all typical slow, fast. All our temperature, pulse variation, etc.
when they are combinations.
So it is actually quite format.
Another thing is if you want to make two sides correction, so you have to use layout.
Layout
Matching of layout is important,
very important.
particularly in that process.
So these are the five corners.
Yeah.
These are the five corners, and probably you don't require these two corners, right? Because all are almost at least for this last year. If it is a PMOS and NMOS, both are CMOS LCDs here, then you require. And then VDD variation should be 10%, plus minus. So, yeah. So it is 0.9 VDD to 1.13, correct? And the temperature variation is that, okay, wood application is not that much.
65% is 1.2 means 1.32 to 1.08.
And your temperature variation, yeah, you are not making any kind of yield standard. You are not generating any kind of military standard.
So minus 22 plus 70.
Okay, minus 25 is plus 100 or 125 is okay. So, and middle there will be 27. So there is a three corners, 1, 2, 3, 2 and 5. So 5 into 3 into 2. Difficult corner is this. Because this corner generally increase the threshold voltage of the transistor, and it means that your transconductance value will come down. Because threshold is higher, current capability, current carrying capacity is lesser. So if GM is lesser, then what you have to do? The starting position may be deviated. GM should not be lesser than this. So GM is coming down. Therefore, more power. So SS corner generally require little higher current compared to this. This is design, and this is actually the core. Of course, there are kind of switches to force control the switch. Okay? So this switch's resistance is also coming into picture, apart from this. And then you have because you have to go for because what happens is that your phase noise is also dependent on the control voltage. So basically the phase noise is a function of control voltage itself, the varactor itself. So you need to simulate all these things. This is actually a large amount of vast area of simulation like HB, HBAC, HB noise, PSS, PPSS, PPSS, and all these things. Because you need to consider all these things, and of course every simulation you need to look for all these comments. PPSS, and the layout issue,
How the varactor has to be implemented. So you can actually keep the control voltage. From where the control voltage is coming? The control voltage is coming from the loop filter, right? Because you have the charge pump. First is the PMP, then the charge pump. And the charge pump is pushing the current to the APF, to a capacitor. The voltage generated out of it is giving the control voltage. So you have one option that you can put the control voltage. This is the capacitor, okay? And the voltage across the capacitor is going to the control voltage of the MOS varactors. So you can always have a source follower over here, okay, to improve the linearity of that, so that you can have a better tuning range by that. Okay? Because if you want to have a small change, suppose if you directly give the control voltage to the varactor, then if there is a small change in the voltage, that might cause a shift in the frequency. So you can actually give a slower, so this common source or the source follower will give you some kind of a sluggish, means if there is a change in control voltage, then it may not be so fast in changing the capacitance of the MOS varactor. So this way you can improve the tuning range. So I am showing you that something like that. So if you look at the conventional MOS varactor, then we find that this is the voltage control, that is from 0 to 1.75 volt, and how the frequency is changing, because 1 by twice by root over of LC. So you can change the capacitors and correspondingly you can find out the change in the frequency. But whenever you have the conventional one, you have this kind of change and then it saturates. That means there is no change in the frequency here. But the same change in the frequency, you can have much better tuning. Am I clear? Frequency is changing from 2.43 gigahertz to 2.5 gigahertz. But you understand that this change is quite fast. That means 0.0 to 0.5 volt, the change is occurring. So it is so your KVCO is pretty high. On the other hand, if you have those kind of a source follower, you can have the same change in the frequency, but with a wide voltage change. So that will always help you in improving the VCO performance. It is called linearization technique. If I just reflect that one, that is, that delta V by delta F, that is delta F by delta V is the KVCO. If you look at the KVCO, then if you look at the conventional approach of control voltage to the VCO, you see that voltage, the KVCO is 150 megahertz per volt. Okay, that is the conventional one. But you can look at here that once I go for a linearization technique, then this control voltage, that the KVCO going down below 100 megahertz, so it is around 75 megahertz per volt. So this is how you can actually improve the KVCO by linearization technique. That is one of the approach you can follow in your design. Second one is that why not you give more number of varactors in parallel? You are giving so many transistors, so many capacitors for, this is called switch capacitors array, and this switch capacitors is the array for band selects. But along with that, for the fine tuning, you can actually have parallel MOS varactors. So you can actually define a zone by this kind of a biasing techniques. So you can think of, say, 0 to 0.1 volt, one varactor, then 0.1 to 0.2 volt, another varactor. So this way you can actually extend the tuning range further. So that is called the distributed biasing of MOS varactor, okay, by parallelization of the MOS varactor. So that is also, so you can actually make it around 30 megahertz per volt, okay, and this is how we are doing it. So you can see that, so you can make one varactor, this is the frequency voltage characteristics, another one is like that, another one is another one. So finally you are getting a average one. So you are getting, so if I look at here, the KVCO is going to almost is lower down. So you can improve the KVCO further by using distributed MOS varactor biasing techniques. So now coming into the, if you look at that, how we have improved, we using the distributed MOS varactor, so it goes to around 25, and in the conservative oscillator is 150. Okay, so that is the variations of the technique. So one is the linearization technique by source follower, another one is distributed MOS. You can improve this. I am telling the same thing. Then another one for ZigBee kind of a transceiver design, you can actually make the select your channel spacing and correspondingly the kind of specification you have. The frequency range is 2.4 to 2.48 gigahertz, and number of channels is 60. So what will be the K value, that is the channel spacing. So it is K is, so you can think of it your center frequency of the channel, that is 1 by twice by root over LC. How will you calculate that frequency? So you can start with the first channel, that is 2.405 gigahertz, plus what is the channel spacing, that is 5, then what is the number of channel, that is 16. So that will be the center frequency of that, okay, and that FC value you will calculate to find the value of the inductor L and C. So in this way we found that the power consumption, for example, if you look at the phase noise performance of that, you can get that minus 110 dBc at 1 megahertz offset, okay, and the sparse that is mentioned should be less than minus 60 dBc. You remember that in the spectrum we have a small kink at 5 megahertz spacing, and that should be less than minus 60 dBc. And for ZigBee, the kind of specification requirement of the settling time, that is variation from maximum to minimum frequency, is 192 microseconds. But in your specification, you should target at the settling time of less than 50 microseconds. Okay, so this is one, and there is another important idea which I like to share, is how we do actually plan the whole frequency synthesizer. Means if you look at this VCO part, so the VCO, after it is giving its frequency, then the frequency goes to the divider, as I mentioned in the first attempt. Then another one goes to a buffer, and that buffer you must have in your chip. Otherwise, if you try to gauge the signals from outside, even a small probe, say oscilloscope probe or the spectrum analyzer probe, that will actually load it the VCO. So your resonant frequency of the VCO will change. So you should isolate the VCO from the external output using a buffer. So it's a unity-gain buffer that we should also always add when you try to get the signal out of the chip. Next question is that internally, when you make this kind of a biasing scheme, then you have a reference generator, say current reference generator. So you can use those for charge pump and low filters, and also use this same reference generator for the VCO. Now you understand that how the biasing current, that is the tail current of the VCO, is being varied by the reference generator to improve the phase noise performance of that. But there is, we just give you the mathematical analysis that by increasing the biasing current, you might improve the phase noise performance, but not to not to, but after getting some critical value of the biasing current, then phase noise performance setting start to degrade. So you have to take care of improving the phase noise performance while you are just changing the biasing currents. Then in the programmable dividers, if you look at the programmable divider, suppose I want to see the output of the divider current. For example, this is 2.4 gigahertz and the divider is 480. So that is internally being referred with the reference signals, that is 5 megahertz signals. But I want to see that whether my divider is properly working or not. So you need a test pad or test pin out of that. So if you have that test pin out of that, so whenever you try to extract the signals from the divider, it should be isolated with another buffer. So these two buffers are essential for getting a full synthesizer or your frequency synthesizer. And this is a control, the reference generator, you have an external pin so that you control the current mirror and bias generators with the temperature compensation and all. So that should be able to drive all the blocks. Okay. So this is how you can make your scheme where you are designing a frequency synthesizer, especially for kind of Zigbee kind of applications. I will look at here that this is, I have already mentioned, that how the switch capacitors array variations, and you can see the variations of the frequency with respect to the voltage at different band capacitors. Now another, since we don't have much time, I can say that while you are implementing the divider, suppose the divider are made of unit cell, either divide by 2 or divide by 3. So combination of say 4 or 5 or n number of such unit cell will finally give you the required division number. So you have to calculate that one, but that is doable. But the main problem crops up that regarding the performance of this divider, it is also a power consuming term. So what I am advising you that a divider where the frequency is lowered for say 2.4 gigahertz, it is divided by say 2. So it becomes 1.2 gigahertz. Then next one is divided by 3, so it is 80 megahertz. So fast few cell where the frequency is high, you try to implement this using by CML logic, current mode logic. Okay? Current mode logic is always power consuming, but it will be faster. After that, when the frequency drops to megahertz regions, okay, then you switch to the normal CMOS static logic. So that is another skill you can incorporate to optimize the power consumptions. Okay, so this is some of the tricks I am just mentioning, and if you look at here, if you have a board like that and this is a complete test code for the frequency synthesizers, and this area is 1 millimeter into 1 millimeters. And if you look at the phase noise performance, okay, so you can make by the spectrum analyzer with a special program in it, so you can measure this phase noise performance with the loop bandwidth and so on. And this is the performance of the, so you can look at the sparse, right? So the sparse is 40.84 meters. So that is not good. I want minus 60 dBc kind of a sparse. So if you look at that, then after a few changes, no time, is the second phase. You can see that how you can look at the phase noise performance much cleaner and look at the sparse. So you can, now it is an acceptable spectrum. So means when you design, this is actual test results. So your sparse component is from the main fundamental. It is 68.62 dB below at 5 megahertz basically. So that is a better sparse performance. Okay. So these are the few things I said. Then another one I said that how to measure the settling time. So settling time, you start with the lowest frequency. That is, Zigbee, it is 2.4 gigahertz and 2.48 gigahertz. So you just clock it so that you can jump. This is the stable. This your control voltage is at 2.4 gigahertz. But when it switches to 2.48 gigahertz, then how much time is required to settle the control voltage? So with little bit of overshoot, it comes down and then it settles. then in between this time is known as the settling time. So remember that while you are measuring the settling time, you always go from the minimum to the maximum, find out this kind of a trace experimentally and see that the settling time is around 53 microseconds. Okay? So that is very important while you repeat. Important because for CP, the kind of settling time is 120 microseconds, whereas in the Bluetooth it is much smaller. Okay? So settling time being here is very important. So that's all more or less. I would say that your tricks for designing the VCO and frequency synthesizers. And the next talk will mainly cover simulations of VCO and mixer.